Hello, all. I would like to share with you for Holy Week two original pieces. The first is called Why Should I? Rolled out of bed this morning and heard an awful creak. Too bad it's not the floorboards. That sound came from my knees. My step has lost its spring. My hips have no hooray. I try not to let a gray cloud settle on my day. The aches and pains of daily life begin to gnaw at me. I ask, why should I have pain? Can I please get some relief? Then suddenly I realize I never have to see the suffering of Jesus on the day he died for me. Pilate had him beaten and whipped from his shoulders to his thighs. His skin was torn to ribbons, metal and bone shards cut like knives. They made a crown of thorns and shoved it on his head, piercing skin so painfully I can't imagine how he bled. They threw a robe around his shoulders, mocked and called him names. And when they spat upon him, it was meant to cause him shame. Tortured steps up a hill, barely able to walk on. Arriving there at Calvary, the worst was yet to come. I cringe when I imagine the sound of hammer hitting nail, hands and feet affixed to a cross, hours suffering there. Before the Roman soldier came to stab him in the side, Jesus looked to heaven and proclaimed Tetelestai. His story doesn't end there, happily I say, because he rose up from the dead and is still alive today. Again I say, why should I have pain? It now seems so obscure. Maybe just one more reason to praise him and thank him for what he endured. The second piece I would like to share is called Cracked Pot. I have often wondered what triggers memories of childhood. I suppose it can be a combination of sights, sounds, and circumstance. Whatever the reason, they have an unmatched ability to hurl us through time, making distant moments seem vivid and alive. I remember going on a field trip of sorts with my mother and her friend to a greenhouse. The air was thick, and I tried only for a moment to follow the conversation about each plant and where in the yard it would thrive. I became distracted, noticing the colors and shapes of the blooms before me. There were so many beautiful flowers, and I longed to touch each petal. My mother and her friend pushed their carts to the checkout. On the end of the counter was a great big pot just filled with different flowers. It was so colorful, I thought it looked happy. Then I noticed the pot itself. It was muddy and had a V-shaped chip on the rim, and a crack ran all the way down to the bottom. As I ran my finger along that crack, I became sad. Why would anyone put those gorgeous flowers in this plain, broken pot? I left the greenhouse disappointed. Now, decades later, I've realized the lessons that I could take away from my morning at the greenhouse. First, perspective is an important factor when it comes to how we view our world. My mother and her friend were looking at that arrangement from a stance much higher than my own, and therefore probably never saw that cracked pot. I can change my perspective now. I can look at the trials of my life as an opportunity to grow and to find strength and peace I didn't even know I possessed. Secondly, there can be remarkable beauty found within broken things. I imagine that's how God sees me. That pot is this breaking down body, the soil, the sum of my experiences, and the flowers, the beauty, those are gifts, the ones He has given me: hope, love, peace, joy, and salvation. I'm His cracked pot. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you soon.